I'm Justin Roskamp, and today I'm going to teach you how to get to the International Space Station in 5 easy steps. Step 1. Select your launch vehicle. There are a number of rockets that can get to the International Space Station. One of the most famous right now is the SpaceX Falcon 9. Another is the Northrop Grumman Antares rocket, as well as the United Launch Alliance Atlas V. The Falcon 9 and the Atlas V will both carry humans to the International Space Station soon. Because it is the International Space Station, the Russians also have craft that carry crew and cargo. Pictured here is the Soyuz rocket carrying the Progress resupply craft, and here is the Soyuz rocket carrying the Soyuz crew capsule. Other rockets that have gone to the International Space Station include the Russian Proton, the Japanese H-2B, the American Space Shuttle, and the European Ariane 5. Step 2. Set a date and time. If you're going to go to the International Space Station, you need to make sure you're not in anybody's way. These are 4 craft that were attached to the International Space Station near the time of the recording of this video. They include 2 Soyuz craft that carried people, as well as 2 resupply craft, the Cygnus and Progress. And if you're going to launch to the International Space Station, you have to make sure you launch into the right orbit. Orbital mechanics is difficult, so this is a simplified picture of one orbit around the Earth by the International Space Station. The ISS orbits in a circle, and the Earth rotates underneath it. So, when the ISS comes around to the same point in the orbit, you get this discontinuity that appears on a map of the Earth. Don't worry too much about it. Orbital mechanics is hard. Assuming you followed steps 1 and 2 properly and gotten to the point where your vehicle is sitting on the launch pad with everything you want on it ready to go, you can launch. Pictured here is a SpaceX Falcon 9 launching cargo to the International Space Station. If you've never gone to a launch, you definitely should. I got to see this one in person. I really can't describe the sensation with words, so I'm not even going to try. Step 4. Once you've launched, approach the International Space Station. There are 2 main ways to approach the International Space Station. You can either go into a higher orbit or a lower orbit. Things in lower orbits orbit faster. Things in higher orbits orbit slower. That's why the International Space Station takes 90 minutes to orbit the Earth, while the Moon takes about a month. If you launch your craft into a lower orbit, it will catch up to the ISS eventually. If you launch your craft into a higher orbit than the ISS will catch up with you. Step 5. You dock or berth with the International Space Station. These are just 2 words that mean you connect with it. All of the spacecraft I've mentioned approach the International Space Station autonomously. However, once they get really close, things change. Spacecraft like the Japanese HTV and the old SpaceX Cargo Dragon have to be grappled by a robotic arm. This also applies to the Cygnus spacecraft. Once these craft are grappled by the arm pulls them in and attaches them to the space station. That is berthing. Alternatively, spacecraft also dock to the International Space Station. This means that they use computers to guide themselves into the station completely autonomously, with no robotic arms. Once you're successfully attached to the International Space Station, congratulations, you made it. The crew inside should be opening the hatch soon, and then they can either get out your cargo, or if you load a crew capsule up, they can let you inside. Once you're there, you'll work on science and all sorts of other amazing things. There were only 5 steps in this video, but in reality it's a lot more complicated. And you should look into it, because space is cool.